Welcome back. Let's debunk the night journey. We've discussed the topic before, but we have new information to show you. We're going to discuss the actual meaning of the Quranic verse that inspired the myth of the night journey. We'll provide links to other videos and resources for additional context. We will explore the cover-up surrounding the story. We will look at an ancient writing that appears to be the original source for the verse. And we will conclude with a shocking insight that clarifies how the standard Islamic narrative was created. Let's go. Surah 17 verse 1 reads, "Exalted is he who took his servant by night from al-Masjid al-Haram to al-Masjid al-Aqsa, whose surroundings we have blessed, to show him of our signs. Indeed, he is the hearing, the seeing." This verse is the foundation of the myth of Muhammad flying from Mecca to Jerusalem in a burak, that's a flying donkey, where he ascended to the heavens in the year 621. Notice how Hilali Khan adds Muhammad, Mecca, and Jerusalem to the translation. However, those words are not in the Arabic, and the verse meant something entirely different. Let's see what the Christian prince says about it.
I want to focus with me just to confirm about what is the sacred mosque. Chapter 17, verse number 1. If you ask any Muslim, they will say to you that this is about the journey, the night journey of Muhammad. Allah took him to heaven, and then in his way back, he went where? To Jerusalem. Where is Jerusalem here? Do you see Jerusalem in the verse? Nowhere. Okay. But look what it says. It took him from the Masjid al-Haram to the farthest mosque. Which one is the Masjid al-Haram, which means the forbidden, sacred, forbidden land? And which one is the farthest mosque? Let us find out. This verse have nothing to do with Muhammad. This is about Moses. In fact, if you read the verse after it, it says Moses right away. Correct?
Yes.
Where is Muhammad? No Muhammad.
And let's see what David Wood says about it.
Glory be to him who carried his servant by night from the holy mosque to the further mosque, the precincts of which we have blessed, that we might show him some of our signs. He is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. Muslims interpret this in light of later Muslim sources, much later Muslim sources, which insist that this verse is about Muhammad flying from Mecca to Jerusalem on a magic flying donkey monster named Barak. But what does the verse actually say? Anything about a magic flying donkey monster? No. Anything about Jerusalem? No. Anything about Muhammad? No. The verse says that Allah carried his servant. Who's the servant here? The only servant who's named is Moses in the next verse. Let's read 17:1 again, but in context. Glory be to him who carried his servant by night from the holy mosque to the further mosque, the precincts of which we have blessed, that we might show him some of our signs. He is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. And we gave Moses the book, and made it a guidance to the children of Israel. Take not unto yourselves any guardian apart from me. The seed of those we bore with Noah, he was a thankful servant. And we decreed for the children of Israel in the book, you shall do corruption in the earth twice, and you shall ascend exceeding high. In context, Surah 17 verse 1 sounds like it's part of a story about Moses. And there are Muslims who interpret it this way. Muhammad isn't even mentioned.
Odon Lafontaine mentions this topic as well in his book, The Great Secret of Islam, in pages 101 to 103. Another fun fact about this verse is the name of the surah. It used to be called Bani Israel, Children of Israel, but it's been recently changed. Mel from Islamic Origins did some digging and found out the date of that change. Links to the videos from the Christian Prince, David Wood and Mel, and Odon's website are in the description. So now we know that the servant mentioned in verse 1 is Moses, as he is mentioned in the next verse by name. And then the Surah, which used to be called Children of Israel, continues on to talk about Jewish stories. When we look at the two sites mentioned in the verse, we find archaeological evidence that confirms that the night journey of Muhammad was a fabrication. The inscription on the screen was found outside of Taif, near Mecca. The inscription clearly says that it was made on the year when the Masjid al-Haram was built. That's in the year 697. That's over 70 years after Muhammad's night journey. The Islamic Awareness website reinterprets freely this inscription and says that it was rebuilt in that year after the damage done by al-Hajjaj. Alas, the inscription clearly says that's when it was built, not rebuilt. It's worth noting that there is no mentions of Mecca before that point in any contemporary sources, so the Mecca of the traditions was yet to be invented. The second site, the Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, was commissioned by Abd al-Malik and completed by his successor around the year 709. Again, over 80 years too late. Let's look at a strong candidate for the original source of the verse. And if you're enjoying this content and want to learn more about Quranic discoveries as they happen, give us a like and subscribe to the channel to be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you for your support. Back to the source. A Talmudic story found in Shabbat 88b tells the story of Moses ascending to the heavens from Mount Sinai. When he arrives, the angels ask why a human is there, and God answers that he was there in order to receive the Torah. If this is the story Surah 17 verse 1 was alluding to, the next verse would now make more sense, as it reads, "And we gave Moses the scripture." Otherwise, the verse would go from a story of Muhammad in the 600s to Moses 2000 years prior, and both verses are connected with an "and." The first verse, therefore, would talk about the journey of Moses to the heavens, and verse 2 is the reason why he was taken there in the first place. The Masjid al-Haram, or the forbidden or sacred place of prostration, would be Mount Sinai, where God asked Moses to remove his sandals because he was stepping on sacred ground. Surah 20 verse 12 mentions this event, so the authors were certainly familiar with the story. As a side note, the Quran says it happened in the valley of Tuwa, which no one knows what it is. So Gabriel Sauma puts forward the idea that it is a mistranslation from the Aramaic, and it should be read, "Take out your sandals, you are well in the sacred valley." A link to his book, The Quran Misinterpreted, Mistranslated and Misread, the Aramaic language of the Quran, is in the description. The Masjid al-Aqsa, which means the farthest place of prostration, would mean the heavens, which makes sense. Note how Muhammad's night journey was meant to tell the story of Muhammad flying from Mecca to Jerusalem, where he ascended to the heavens. But the most important event in that journey, the ascension to heaven, was not in the verse. However, when we realize that the verse was about Moses, the important part of the journey is in fact addressed. As a final note about the source, Shabbat 88b also calls Moses servant, just like Surah 17 verse 1. Conclusion: Muhammad's night journey didn't happen. The story was fabricated from a verse that was all about Moses. The reason the verse was reinterpreted into a story about Muhammad was that this verse was quite vague. That's why, even to this day, we are unsure as to what story it told exactly, although the one explained earlier seems to fit too well to ignore. The audience would have understood the story immediately though, as they would have been so familiar with it that they would not have needed to ask any questions about it. That's likely to be because the story is not biblical but Talmudic, so it would not have been widespread to the same degree. And here is the interesting insight. The book came first. The Quran was circulating around in the Middle East, and then Masjid al-Haram was created because the term appeared in said book. The same with Masjid al-Aqsa, Mecca, Badr, and so much more. The narrative was fabricated to give legitimacy to the book, and most importantly, to manipulate the members of the forming empire into obedience and submission, and to make them act in the ways the rulers wanted. The book came first. A similar thing happened with Muhammad himself. You can watch our recent video where we show that he was never in the Quran to begin with. We hope you have enjoyed this video and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Over and out.